People don't do business with you unless they like you. Because somebody that I trusted, somebody that I believed in, embezzled money from me. I said, I'm going to be so good that you can not come see me. People now have to reinvent themselves. People now have to upgrade their skills.
You have greatness within you.
Life knocks you down. Try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. It's not over until I win.
I believe entrepreneurship can and does have the power to change the world.
Yes.
It raised me up, and I know how powerful it can be when you're solving problems for others, adding value to others. I'm just in love with the idea and the concept. So what I would like to hear is your chapters of life and what you were doing in the business sense in those times.
When I came into this space, before this, I was involved in door-to-door sales.
Of course.
Selling used television sets.
Oh, wow. How did that work? Did you have to carry a TV? Or?
Yes, you did. After you knocked on the door, hello, would you like to have a nice working television set? No money down? No. So you learn to know your vitamin. Now, one of the things that entrepreneurs must be able to do is have mental resilience.
Yes.
Being able to handle the rejections, the no's, the doors slammed in your face. I remember it was like 10:30 at night, and Sam Axelrod, this guy I was working for, he says, come on, Les, there's nobody buying here. I said, listen, Sam, I said, I'm going to sell something tonight. It's 10:30 at night. I said, I don't care.
Yeah.
I have a quota that I want for myself. And so I never forget, knock on the door. Hello, yes, would you like to buy a nice working television set? No money down? Are you serious? It's 10:30 at night. I know it's 10:30 at night. And I'm going to sell somebody a good working television set. And it might as well be you. The guy said, wait just a minute. I want to see who in the hell is this? Opened the door and he invited me in and we talked. And he said, there was something in my voice that he said, I want to do this. I want to buy this television set from him. And so when we look at what we do as entrepreneurs, one of the things that's most important is that I believe that people don't buy from you. They buy into you. When I saw you, I knew that you were skillful in terms of the services that you provide for your clients, but that was not important to me. I always look at the person. I listen not just with my ears, but with my heart. And I said, this guy is a real deal. I just like this guy. And so this is a place, when you look at the distracting economy that we're in, it's very noisy, that people are asking three questions. Who are you? What do you have? And can I trust you? That is major today. And we're going through a major crisis. Character is very important at this point in time. The character of America, the willingness to have a vision that's greater than ourselves and how we show up in life.
I love that. I'm a high school wrestling coach, and so I get the opportunity to spend a lot of time with young men and women. They're 14, 15, 16. One of the most common questions is like, what should I do with my life? Most of the time, if I know them, I'm telling them, go get a sales job. If it can be 100% commission, go do it. And what do you think?
I think that is very important, because your ability to present yourself, your ability to sell your ideas, your products, your skills, your knowledge is very important. We're in a period that the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. So we take in consideration that artificial intelligence is replacing over 300 million jobs. So that's a crisis, but also every crisis is pregnant with new possibilities.
Opportunity.
Absolutely. So now we have to be more creative. We have gone to this place, and some people don't like it, but Marion White said in life, when you don't have enough courage and insight to know that you've outgrown a situation and it's time to move on, life will move on us. And I believe that life is moving in on us and say, look, you were created by the Creator to create. And this is what entrepreneurs do. And this is a very serious time for us that will develop and challenge us to become the greatest people, the greatest version of ourselves by virtue of willing to take a chance on ourselves. And that's what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs are risk takers.
Yeah. Follow-up question. I run a sales organization.
Yes.
And every time, we have a particular salesperson that's not doing well, we'll see his close ratio, his conversation ratio. And I walk in, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Is why are we not closing? What's going on? What's your advice to that guy that isn't closing? Because this happens to all of us. We have ebbs and flows in our business as a salesperson.
I have a training called Focus on the Seller. Mm-hmm. That many times people look at their closing ability, but I look at the person because we are taking hits in our personal lives as well as our professional performance, that life be lifing. So what I encourage salespeople to do and what allowed me to become successful in that area, I always took time for me, to focus on me, listening to motivational messages on a regular basis. I'm 79. I still do it. When I get up in the morning, I spend the first 2 to 3 hours reading at least a minimum of 30 or 40 pages a day. And I listen to motivational recordings on a regular basis, almost said tapes.
I was going to say.
That's back in the day, yeah. But I do that because we're taking a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And you can't give from an empty wagon. So you've got to set aside time to not only work on yourself, but you have to surround yourself with people that are doing more than what you're doing. They did the study, and if you're a top performer and I'm next to you or in that vicinity of you and I'm a mediocre performer, then your presence will increase my performance because proximity is power. And you help to inspire me to see what's possible. So I was working with a team that we had in Detroit. And if I had someone that wasn't doing well, I would change where they were and put them next to somebody that's knocking it out of the park. So
that
they
their office.
Absolutely. So they can see the possibility.
Love it. Okay. So first chapter of life for you was selling TVs.
Selling TVs door to door.
What happened next?
I could have become a Jehovah's Witness.
Actually, they have the best religious business model. Send every single one of their children out to recruit at 18 to 20.
Yes.
I mean, that's an amazing business model.
Yes, it is. But the other thing is that I got a job working at Sears. And and men's clothing.
Okay.
And so that was a very interesting time because, mind you, I'm 79.
Yeah.
And so reading all the books I was reading, listening to all the cassette tapes and the reel-to-reel tapes, it said if you do this, this, and this, and you become a person that is successful. And so in Sears, I became the top salesperson. I was excited and I couldn't wait to have Mr. Simpson say, Les Brown, you're now going to be the manager of the men's department. And he came to me and said, Les Brown, we can't give you that position. I said, excuse me, sir. Do not use the word give me. The rule is if you're the top performer, that you will be appointed to that position.
Yeah.
I said, no, we need you to be a team player. And I got a guy I want to be trained by you, and he'll become the manager, be a team player. Because if you are appointed manager, it's going to lower morale. I said, you've got to be kidding me. He said, yes. He said, I don't make the rules here. I said, well, you're looking at an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If you think I load the morale now because I refuse to be passed over because of my paint job, I said, I'm out of here. If I can sell for you, I can sell for myself.
Wow.
And that's how I got into door-to-door sales. I did that first, Sears, and then door-to-door sales guy named Sam Axelrod. And he gave me an appreciation for quotes. He said, every day, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. Les Brown, This is a usable world, and if you don't use it in the right way, it'll be a cruel world. So every day was like 8 of us in this station wagon, but I was the only one that just took those quotes in, and I loved them, and I'm very thankful because that conditioned me to memorize those quotes, and they helped me to get to where I am in terms of reprogramming my mind and being in a culture that's stacked against you and that you had to find a way to win.
Yeah. What got you started down the self-improvement, the motivational speaking, like having that stuff enter your
Sam
psyche?
used to take me to events, and he loved Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you give enough people what they want, they'll give you what you want. Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, I shared the stage with him many times. You have something special. You can do more than you can ever begin to imagine, but you've got to change your thinking.
Yeah.
Focus on making your thoughts positive. And so going to those seminars with him, I developed a love for them. And one of the gifts that he gave me at Christmas time was The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to that on a regular basis, over and over and over again. And I said to myself when I would see these various speakers, I said, I can do that. And then on the way to my car, my mind became activated. My heart said, I can do that.
Yeah.
But my mind said, because we've been programmed to be practical and logical and realistic, come on, Les, you don't have a college education.
Yeah.
You never worked for a major corporation. You were born in an abandoned building on a floor. You don't even know your parents' name. You were labeled educable, mentally retarded, and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and failed again in the 8th grade. Studies indicate when we see something that we want to do that's beyond our current reality, 87% of our self-talk says, you can't do that. So what self-development did for me is to focus on how to begin to understand if there's an argument between your mind and your heart, follow your heart. And because there are things that we know in our heart, the mind believes, but the heart knows. And I was at this event, Bob Proctor event. And a guy said, there's somebody here who should be up here speaking, holding this microphone. I don't know who you are, but you've built a strong case within yourself that you can't do it, that you don't have enough education. I want you to know, whoever you are enough. And then he went on and started speaking again. He stopped. He said, look, this is in my spirit. I'm going to say this, and I'm through with it. I do this because I love making money. It's adventurous. It's business. But you, whoever you are, it's a calling on your life. And the only reason I'm standing up here in your dream, and you are seated out there, I have accepted the thoughts that you have rejected for yourself. That means that was a punch in the gut. I said, oh no. I jumped up and I started moving, getting out of there. I said, oh no, I'm not going to reject myself anymore. I called my mentor, Mike Williams, who's been my mentor for 52 years. I said, Mike. He said, Brownie, what's going on? I said, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me? He said, Brownie, calm down. I said, no, hell no. I'm not rejecting myself anymore. I said, my mother needs me. She's been diagnosed with breast cancer. My brothers and sisters want to put her in a nursing home. And I said, no, we can take care of her. How can one woman raise 7 children she didn't give birth to, but 7 grown people can't take care of one woman? I can do this, Mike, and I need your help. And part of what I teach people, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help and don't stop until you get it. And he said, Brownie, I'll come. I'll help you. He said, you got it, man.
Wow.
I'll help you.
So after the TV sales, what happened next? I want your journey.
Yeah. And so after I started going to these events with Sam Axelrod, seeing the motivational speakers.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I can do that. But I didn't do it for a very long time. I continued to do the door-to-door sales. And then when I left Sears, I left Sears first and did door-to-door sales. Then I wanted to get into this space. And so I started working with a guy named Bob Boyd, who he was involved in Amway.
Yeah?
And I used to go to all the meetings. He was very polished and very articulate, a graduate of Ohio State University. And I assisted him. I would sell the cassette tapes at the back of the room after he spoke. And I just said, boy, I would love to be like him one day. And I came to an event, and he came in and he said, I don't think I can do it tonight. I said, what do you mean? What's going on? What do you need me to do to help you? He said, I don't know if I'm coming down with the flu. I don't know. But I need you to help me. And at this time, I'd been speaking on a volunteer basis to kids in daycare and elementary school because I knew that they didn't know enough to know whether or not I knew what I was talking about.
You were practicing.
I was practicing, yeah.
That's right.
A calling is something you love so much that you do it for nothing.
That's
but
right.
You do it so well that people will pay you to do it. And so I said, what you want me to say to him? He said, you've heard my speech many times.
Just go up.
Just do what you hear in your heart. I said, okay, man. You think I can do it? And he said, yes. And one of the things I say to people, sometimes you need to have somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. And when I spoke and I saw his face, it's like, damn, you pretty good. And so we started sharing the stage together in 1-2 punch. And so that's how I began to gradually go into this space. But I continued to speak anywhere that I could on a volunteer basis to grow into it.
What transformed you from Les Brown working for Amway to Les Brown, the motivational speaker? Like, what was that transition point? And why
Because people started paying me. How much do you charge? How much have you allocated? We only have $2,000. I didn't speak right away because I would have spoken in unknown tongues.
Yeah.
I say, okay. And so that's how. Because if you impact drives requests, if you make a difference in people, I called you because you impacted me. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
But when you spoke and I'm looking at your eyes, I'm listening to your voice, and you're sharing an idea and concept of how you can provide virtual assistance for people and so allow you to do what you do best and have people that can take the stuff off your plate and be able to allow you to grow your business. And how you were all in on it. I just said, I like this dude. People don't do business with you unless they like you. Who are you? What do you have? Can I trust you? And so I felt you in my heart. And I said, I got to call you. And then I talked to one of the operators. I said, I want to talk to the dude that did the commercial. I gave him a fit.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know. Who are you again?
Yes.
But when you called in, my whole team was like, I got a message, I got an email, somebody called my cell phone, and somebody was texting me. And it was like,
well, the reason that when I think about you, I've been around this, you know, I'm 79. I've been on stage with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, with Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. And there's a vacuum now that where many people are focused on speaking to sell.
yeah.
And so I saw you speaking to help people to maximize the impact of what they want to do by taking things off the plate that they shouldn't be focused on. Og Mandino, who's a very good friend of mine, wrote the Greatest Salesman in the World. He said in the book, The University of Success, most people fail in life because they become distracted by secondary activity. And what you were saying, hey, you don't need to be focused on secondary activity. You want to operate in your calling, in your gift. You want to do that which you do well. And if you do that, you can do it even more effectively and have a greater impact by taking stuff off your plate that does not impact your bottom line.
Why do you think people get distracted by that secondary stuff? Like they'll be growing a business and all of a sudden they get so busy that they forget the one thing that matters. Like, what do you think that?
Where will we get that experience from? Where will we get that knowledge from? We'd spend 12 years in school, reading, writing, arithmetic. Yeah. Don't teach critical thinking. Don't teach how to build relationships. Don't teach who am I? Where am I going? Who's going with me? Yeah. Does not teach self-reflection. Where are we going to get that? You think that we are not aware of that should be a part of the curriculum? And it's not, because school is designed 12 years to prepare you to go out and to get a job, the journey of the broke. And so that program is gone now. It's a different place. And so people now have to reinvent themselves. People now have to upgrade their skills. People now have to do what Peter Drucker talked about. He said that we must be willing to unlearn, because the things that we know, the things that we've learned won't serve us now. We got to be willing to unlearn, learn, and relearn. This is where we are right now. And we have to do that continuously. Otherwise, artificial intelligence will leave us behind. And most people don't know that. It's common sense, but not common practice. So what you're doing in introducing, you have to educate people and create the thirst, because most people don't understand. Why would I need a virtual assistant? They don't understand that. I should have had it a long time ago, but I was trying to do it with my family, and I realized that you can have family members that's in the business, but the business is not in them.
Yeah.
And that cost you. And I had periods where I had somebody embezzle over $400,000 from me, and I made a very bad mistake. I gave a person a position who was nice, who was honest, but did not have the skill set. So my volume of impact of $5 million dropped dramatically to $1,600,000, because I spent a long time playing not to get hurt. I wasn't in business at this time to win, because I got hit, because somebody that I trusted, somebody that I believed in, embezzled money from me. And I said, this is not going to ever happen to me again. I'm going to hire somebody that I can trust and that will have my back. But they didn't have the knowledge, the skill set, and the mindset to be an asset to me, to take me to the level that I wanted to go. I had to agonize many nights over not breaking down and calling this guy and saying, look here, I'm sorry, I'm fired you. I know you took my money, but can you next time just don't let me find out? I mean, so many nights I wanted to call him and say, I'm sorry. But I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And get some other strategic partners. But when you're on the road, and I was speaking sometimes 5-6 times a day.
Wow.
Where you go into a city and you speak for a breakfast, then you speak at lunch, then you speak in the afternoon, then you speak at an early dinner, and then I'll be the closing speaker, because we will have 2 to 3 areas geographically where things are going on.
Yeah.
And I was doing this tour called Millionaires in Training. Donald Trump was a part of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I was the closing speaker on those events. And so I'll never forget the last one I did, and when Donald Trump showed up at lunchtime, people just packed the room. Mm-hmm. And so when he finished, there were people just following him to leave. So I said to the promoter, he said to me, I don't think anybody's going to be here this afternoon. Do you still want to speak? I said, yeah. I said, can I have the microphone now? He said, yes. I said, excuse me, while you're running out to talk to someone who had an allowance of $5, at age 5, of $300,000, who had a father who financed everything he did. You want to smell his breath. You want to follow him. Unless you got that kind of allowance on a monthly basis, unless you've got a father that's got that kind of money, unless you have that, go ahead and follow him. Mm-hmm. I've made my first million.
Perfect.
I only want to speak to the people here who's ready to make their first million and not looking to be around a celebrity, but learning the techniques and strategies on how you can bring out the millionaire in you. And they turned red in the face and they came back in the room and sat down. I said, okay, because they looked at me and said, damn, if he has made his first million in 3 years, why haven't I made mine?
That's right.
And so they came and sat down. So I was able to retain the audiences and close out in a standing room only.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our audience is mostly people who they're in business and they want to make millions. So what's your advice? You're 79. You've been around everyone. You have access, unlike most of us. What are the rules to win, according to Les Brown?
Focus on the experiences. And what I mean by that, my children are involved in my business. And somebody asked me, what's the most rewarding experience you've had as a speaker? When you got a contract for a pharmaceutical company where they paid you $640,000 in 1 month for 16 presentations. Or when you spoke in the Georgia Dome, it's not over till you win, to 80,000 people. And I said, no. So what's the most exciting and rewarding experience? When you made your first million in 3 years? I said, no. I says 2 things. One, when my children said, Dad, I know why you have done the things that you do. I know why. That you work at special events, sporting events, or when I was in ballet. I understand the sacrifice now and the price you paid. That was major to me. And now they're stepping up and learning how they can further the business, because a good man leaves a legacy for his children and his children's children. So my youngest daughter is saying, I'm your guy. I can do this. Second most important thing, and my oldest daughter asked me this. She said, in building $1 million business, what's the most exciting part? And I said, to believe that I could do it. Everybody watching us right now, I can say unequivocally that you have to affirm to yourself, I'm going to make this happen. There's some things that you can do that you don't even know. But when you commit yourself, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established in all their ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. When you make the commitment, you've figured out, the difference between being involved in business and being committed to grow your business to a multi-million-dollar or $1 billion industry. Next time you have bacon and eggs, look at it. The chicken was involved. The pig was committed. He had to give it all up. Oh, behave.
That's funny.
I'm focused on the experience. I'm focused on that when my mother, who adopted me among 6 other kids that she didn't give birth to, and when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I just got elected for the 3rd time to the Ohio legislature, and my sister called and, are you sitting down? No, what's wrong with Mama? Mama has breast cancer and it's terminal. I said, I'll be right there, Margaret. Listen, Leslie, we got this. They have wonderful nursing homes in Dade County. Listen to me. She's not going to go to a nursing home. I couldn't understand. How can one woman raise 7 children she didn't give birth to, but 7 grown people couldn't take care of one woman? And the reason was they had this limited vision of themselves. I was the one. And you know, Ed Millett, he said, there's always one in the family. I was the one. If nobody in your family have ever earned $1 million, decide that you're going to be the one. Okay. Yeah. And I resigned, went back to Miami, and took care of my mother until she left here at 89. But to be there with her, to hold her hand as she took her last breath, and said to all my brothers and sisters, come, I can take care of you until she leaves here. She took care of 7. 7 will be here when she takes her last breath. So to me, the experience that we can create, it says not the number of breaths we take, but the number of experiences that take our breath away, the experiences that we create with our children, with our brothers and our sisters. Those are the things that's most important. I have a Mickey Mouse watch. And I'll even have it on today because I love Mickey Mouse. M-I-C, see you real soon. K-U-I-Y, because we like you. M-O-U-S-E. All the stuff that a lot of people are fascinated with. Man, let me tell you something. If you have millions of dollars and you don't have peace of mind, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. I've been around people who had it, but they did not have peace. They did not have harmony in terms of their alignment with their sense of spirituality and their family and their children and things that gave their lives a sense of meaning. One of my favorite books is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And he talked about the Jews that were able to rise above the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism. He said the Jews that survived and didn't lose their minds, either they had a family member that they were determined to see, or some cause that was bigger than them that they were committed to represent, or a sense of spirituality that gave them the mental capacity and the perseverance and the courage to handle it. And life is very disruptive right now. We're going through a major disruption, but all disruptions are pregnant with new possibilities and opportunities, as you said. And the only way you can navigate that is to be able to live your life from the inside out. I've seen people that they have the planes, they have all the trappings, the big mansions, and I saw a guy, and you and I both know him. I will not call his name. And he said, I got this money. And his significant other was in the audience and took money out of his pocket and threw it on the floor. He said, come up and get it. And I'm looking, and she came up and got down on her knees and picked it up. I said to him, I never want to speak for you ever again. That's horrible what you just did. And money doesn't make you. Money reveals who you are.
So you've spent your life training people to be speakers and to tell their story. What are the steps? What are the things that if somebody...
You have to find something that resonates with you. When I looked into this industry, everybody that's involved in business who are watching right now, let's say your goal is to have a multi-billion-dollar business or make tremendous impact in terms of growing your revenue to millions of dollars. You have to ask yourself the question, what is it about me that will allow me to do that? Because you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. I'm reminded of this woman who became a dominant factor in the industry where she was that was controlled by men, and they asked her, how did you get here? And she said something I never forgot. She said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. Our intention is to amaze them. And so when we focus on how we can amaze our customers, I spoke for Brian Buffini, and he has a theme. Oh, by the way, we're never too busy for referrals.
Yes.
And I took his staff in, and I talked to the top performers, and I collected stories from them. And so when I went on stage, and I said, John, you remember when we talked about when you came to the company? Nancy, you remember the story that you shared with me, how you're able to get your numbers up? And then at the end of my presentation, because first of all, I called 15 different people, and they were like, he called my name, and talked about the story that complimented and brought the point home. You never make a point without a story. You never tell a story without a point. To focus it on their mission statement, and I recited it on stage. At the end of it, when I got a standing ovation, I said, excuse me, settle down for just a moment. By the way, I'm never too busy for referrals. Brian Buffini said, oh my God. He said, listen, and this is on camera. He said, whatever number of engagements you have for the rest of the year, I want them. I'll pay for them.
Wow.
Yes, I've never seen one do that before. And so putting in the work, not to come in and just regurgitate something that's in your head, that people can Google information. They don't need us for information. But creating experiences for your internal customers.
Yeah.
Because the people that's handling your external customers, you do a good job on that. Your growth is inevitable. And so when we look at where we are right now, having attention to the big vision and the detail, the small things, the termites in a business. You drive by a house, you can't see termites, but not attended to, it can destroy the foundation of that business. And so taking care of the internal customers, what's going on with you, having each other's back, letting the people know that you're part of my vision and I want to be a part of your vision. What is it that I can help you with at this point in time? That caring factor that Maya Angelou talked about along with Zig. People don't care how much you know until they can know how much you care. And this is a time where the Surgeon General is saying that loneliness is the number one cause of death right now, that we have to now create communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships in the work environment so people are not just showing up and absent in terms of the presence of their mind, but showing up and being engaged and committed to taking their performance to the next level and enhancing each other.
Community.
Yes.
What are the mistakes that you see new business owners and people who tell their story on stage? What are the mistakes that you're like, look, that's Junior Woodchuck stuff. Don't do that again.
When people feel that their story is important to people, nobody cares. It's not nobody go, you got a story, or life has done you wrong, poor little thing. Nobody gives a damn. 85% of people don't care, and 15% glad it's you and not them.
Yeah.
The key is to deliver a story so that the people in the audience, they see themselves in the story. You strategically engage them in the process. I was talking to a lady the other day, and she started telling me about what she does. And wait a minute. I said, people listen to people. They're first of all asking, who are you? I said, I want you to share something about you before you get into your story so that they would want to care. And so she started telling me the quality of what she delivers with the clients that she's working with. I said, pump your brakes right now. Tell me about you. Tell me about something that happened to you. And when it happened to you, that life stood still. When it happened to you, that it was a moment of this, before this, and there's after this, and nothing will ever be the same again. What happened to you? And she got still. My uncle raped me and told me not to tell. I swallowed my voice. I said, now, you don't have to say everything, but let me show you how you can deliver it. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have had some moments in our lives that it was traumatic. There was a moment in my life I swallowed my voice, and I did not know how I was going to get through it. And after that, when I left home, I realized that that experience I had, it followed me. There's a movie called Magnolia. Said we might be through with our past, but our past is not through with us. And that person that my husband married was damaged goods. And I turned to drugs and alcohol. But there was a place in myself that says, this is not me. I want you to think about your life, and as you look at and reflect on your life, I want you to take a stand, as I did with my life, and say, this will not break me, this will refine me. It's a level of defiance and level of fight that you must have in life. That life is a fight for territory, and once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And so rather than feeling sorry for myself and surrendering to depression, ladies and gentlemen, I became a warrior as opposed to one who worries. And she started crying. She said, "You're making me cry in my own story." I said, "But can you work with that?" I said, "Yes, you don't need to get all the details because they won't be able to move forward with you. But you can allude to it so that people say, if you say, how many of you have ever gone through some stuff?" Because now you're taking them out of their history into their imagination. And they're going to think about the stuff they went through. And so here's what I realized. I had a choice. Every day we're given a chance and a choice. There was a time I was struggling, but then I made a choice that I've got 3 children who didn't ask to be in this world. I have a choice to strengthen myself, to pray, to meditate, to read, to develop myself so that I can be independent. And I'm not surrendering to drugs, but I'm going to surrender to the greatness that I have within myself, the potential to be a mother that my children can be proud of. And so when you work with people like that, as opposed to them just coming and telling their story, it's a different kind of experience.
Changes you. What other mistakes do you see?
It is talking down to people, making blanket statements. You've got to stop being indecisive. You got to stop being around negative people. You got to stop talking to yourself negatively. As opposed to, there are periods in my life I didn't believe in myself. And I had to say, Les Brown, this is not you. Les Brown, things are not going to change for you until you change. And ladies and gentlemen, all of us have had these moments in the mirror, as Michael Jackson talked about, the man in the mirror, that we look at ourselves and say, this is not me. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals and dreams, I want you to hold a vision of that dream, see it already done. And let us say together, it's possible, it's possible. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, it's possible. Now you've got them physically engaged in the presentation. They're affirming someone to their right and to their left, and they're being validated. Now you've created a committed listening. Now I'm going to share with you, not only is that dream that you're holding in your mind possible, but it's necessary that you write it down. It's necessary that you ask yourself the question, who should I count on? And who should I count out? Everybody can't go with you. There's some people that you love that you want to bring with you, and they'll pull you down before you can pull them up. Blink your eyes if you know what I'm talking about.
It's amazing. What's interesting is your stuff works, and I didn't quite understand it. I'm in the car a couple days ago. We'd just gotten done with swim with my daughters, and we put one of your greatest hit videos on YouTube in the car because we're going to either listen to Taylor Swift or Les Brown. That's the option.
I love Taylor Swift.
I know. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yes.
And my daughters, like everyone else in the world, are obsessed. But we're driving, and we put on Les Brown, and I say, I'm going to get to meet you this week. And they're like, really? And then they start listening. And as we're leaving the van, the minivan, I turned to my middle daughter and I said, June, you have greatness in you.
None.
And I saw her eyes light up and her posture change and just this huge smile across her face. Yeah. And I don't think, the message didn't resonate for me that I have greatness in me because I've achieved things. But I see her building self-esteem. She's 7, 8.
Mm-hmm.
And it just landed. And then I told my 3-year-old and it just landed. And then I looked at my wife and it landed. How do you make a message like that signature message just that lands with everybody? How do you craft that?
My name is Daniel. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted you to think about your life right now. And I want to ask you a question. What are you looking at? My name, Daniel. That they said when Daniel was in the lion's den, he didn't look at the lions. All of us, at times in our lives, there's something looking at us, that's stalking us, that's trying to consume us. The distractions of life, negative, toxic relationships, behaviors and choices that does not represent us and does not allow us to bring the next greatest version of ourselves into play. I'm saying to you, as you look at your life, look at your goals and dreams, what you focus on, you will become. What are you looking at? You got greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. I know you've gone through some stuff. I have too. But at the end of the day, we've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. We have the ability to choose. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. And as we look at ourselves and look at our goals, let's not get caught up in the distractions of life because you can get stuck looking back. But focus on where you're going. That focus gives you energy and creates momentum to manifest what you see. I'll give you all your eyes can see. What do you see? Abraham Lincoln said, my future is bright. And they asked him, how do you know that? He said, because I'm going to create it. You have the ability to do that too. It's the Daniel principle. Discipline, determination, and drive. So, don't come for me. I didn't call an Uber.
It's amazing. It's an art for you.
I don't know. I mean, what does that mean?
Well, there's different styles of people. There's the director, there's the scientist, there's the soldier who just gets a lot done. Then there's there's the artist.
Joseph Campbell, Long Dark Journey of the Soul, that when we are in pursuit of something, that's our goals and dreams, and we put in the work, eventually it will reveal its gifts to you. We all have it within us. I just met 2 brothers I didn't know that I had. And they said to me, you're just like our mother. And you were never around her. We don't speak like you, but our mother spoke.
Just like you.
Yes.
So it's biology.
No, it's effort. You have to put, I spent a day with Maya Angelou, who was just a great communicator. She said, it aggravates me when people say I'm a gifted speaker. She said, show me a gifted surgeon. Show me what? A gifted heart surgeon. They put in the work. All of us are made in the likeness and image of God. It doesn't get any better than that. And when you put in the time and the effort and the work to do something special that will impact people's lives, that's a recipe for success. But what most of us do because of our conditioning and the environment, that we go to jobs, that we work just hard enough to keep from getting fired.
Yeah.
And they pay us just enough to keep from quitting. And I was in that paradigm. But self-development expanded my vision beyond my mental conditioning and increased my sense of worthiness. I deserved more. I saw a friend of mine, Miss Leah, and she was one of our neighbors. And every Saturday night, Mr. Marvin, her husband, would come home drunk and he would jump on her. She's a victim of domestic violence. And I saw her years later in a grocery store. I came down to Miami to visit my mother. I said, Miss Leah, how are you doing? She said, Leslie, I'm doing great. I said, how's Mr. Marvin? She said, I'm not with him anymore. I said, you're not? I'm sorry to hear that. She said, oh, don't be. She said, I decided I deserve better. That's when people change. When they say, I've had it. I deserve better than this. I can do more than this. And that sense of awareness and self-worth increases your commitment to execute, to do certain things. And that's going to produce some results, self-fulfillment. And then you get to a certain level and you have to go back to self-awareness. What did it take for me to get here? What radical change did I make in myself? And now at this level, what do I do next to get to that next level? Because the thinking, as Einstein said, that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And now I've got to raise the bar. I've got to reinvent myself. I've got to begin to look at this with new eyes where I am. That's all of us. Life is about growth. Robert Schuller said, you either expand or you're expendable.
If you look back on your life, were there moments of darkness where you didn't know if you could do this, where you didn't know if you could spend your life?
No. There was something, my theme is you got to be hungry. And people always ask, how did you get to that place? One of the things that Nietzsche said, if you have a why for living, you can endure almost anyhow.
That's right.
I was downtown with my mother. I was 5 years old. And the neighbors would watch my brothers and sisters, but they said, Mamie, you got to take Leslie with you. And she said, why won't you keep him too? He's a little touched to the head. So Mama had to take me with her downtown because the neighbors, Miss Winnie and Miss Catherine, they don't want to watch me.
Yeah.
So I'm downtown. It's like 85 degrees in Miami, hot.
Yeah.
I see a water fountain. 5 years old. I run. I go up on the stand. I start drinking at this water fountain. And all of a sudden, I hear my mother say, get down from there, grab me at the back of my neck and threw me on the ground and start beating me, punching me in my face. She's never done this. I'm saying, Mama, it's me, this crazed look in her eyes. It's me, Mama, it's me. And then this white policeman came. He said, okay, you can stop beating that little nigger boy now. Now. He'll never do that again, as he's hidden his nightstick in his hand and walked away laughing. And my mother, she's crying, saying, Leslie, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to beat you like that. But I saw that policeman, his face was red, he's coming with a nightstick. And I had to do something to strike him because if he had hit you with that nightstick, he would have had to kill me. And here I am, hickeys on my face, my eyes swollen. And I realized I was in a different world. The sign said, for colors only. I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. And so at that, Martin Seligman in the book called Learned Optimism, between the ages of 0 and 7, the experiences we have, the things that we see, the conversations that we hear, they impact us and help to form our reality and how we see life. And I knew at that time, everything started clicking when Miss Harris said, Mamie, go in the room and look for that red hat that I have. I want to wear it tomorrow. And my mother started clapping her hands. And I asked Miss Harris, why is Mama clapping her hands? Because when I have coloreds working for me and I ask them to do something and they go in another room, I can't see them. I make them clap their hands to make sure they're not stealing.
Jeez.
And I looked her in the eyes, and this time black people were not allowed to look white people in the eyes. I was defiant. I said, my mother is not a thief. She wouldn't steal from you or anybody. She's a Christian. And she was shocked. And she just walked away. And when we got off work that day, and we were on the bus going back across the Venetian Causeway to Liberty City, I was looking out the window crying, and Mama asked, why are you crying? I said, because I want to be a man. Leslie, you're 10 years old, you'll be a man soon enough. I said, no, ma'am, I want to be a man now, Mama. She said, why? I said, because if I was a man now, I could buy groceries for us, and we would not have to wait for the people that you cook for to eat and see what's left over for them to give us food that you could pack up and bring to us. I'll be able to buy groceries for us. If I was a man, I'll buy you a big, beautiful home like the homes we clean. And if I was a man, nobody will never make you clap your hands because they think that you're stealing. She said, Miss Harris told you that. I said, yes, ma'am. And I said, if I was a man, you only cook for me. My mama used to bake a sweet potato pie so good, you couldn't eat it with your shoes on. You had to kick your shoes off so you could wiggle your toes. So those are defining moments in my life that created a hunger to be able to give my mother a different kind of environment, but live a different kind of life that was told by the culture that I was in, that's off limits to you. You're not worthy of that. And so to be able to have a vision and listening to Earl Nightingale, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. These different speakers always strive to be more than that which you are, if you wish to obtain that which you are not. For wherever thy pleases thee, there thy abideth. Those words help me to begin to expand my vision of myself and to live out of my imagination as opposed to my environment. And that kept me going. So I never entertained as a possibility that I was not going to get there because I was already there in my mind.
Yep.
I was told all accomplishments happen twice, first in the mind and then in the without. And so what the mantra of Og Mandino, I will persist until I succeed, that's what I focus on. I experience and I act as if I was already there. And so that joy, that celebration, call forth those things that be not as though they were. That I remember being with an organization and it's called Get Motivated, and all the speakers they put on before me, they had 90 minutes. And I was the first African American to be on there, and they gave me 15 minutes. And I asked, Peter, why you give me 15 minutes in order to be on the stage? I said, people said, we want to hear this guy, Les Brown. You bring me here and you give me 15 minutes? He said, that's a lot of time. I said, but my ability to stay on this platform, I've got to be able to sell as much money at products and generate as much money as them. Yes. Are you making an excuse just because it's 15 minutes? I said, no. I said, no. So I had 5 minutes to introduce myself. I had 5 minutes to give my speech, and I had 5 minutes to close. I'll never forget. I generated $55,000 worth of product sales. All the other guys did over $200,000. But that was the best thing he could have done to me.
Yeah.
Because I came in there as a speaker. But because of what I went through And the other speakers, they held their heads down. Zig was there, Brian Tracy, all of them. As I talked to Peter and I walked out, there's a fierceness in me. I said, I'm going to be so good that you can not come see me. At some point, you're going to call me to headline this. I started reading 2 to 3 books a month, digesting stuff every day, speaking everywhere in prisons, juvenile detention centers, hospitals, everywhere. Even if I did not have a paid speaking engagement, I would go for a walk in a shopping mall in Detroit, and I practiced TTP, talk to people. Hi, my name is Les Brown. I'm so glad to meet you. I motivate, inspire people, and change their lives. Do you have any need for a speaker? No. Do you know anyone who might have need for a speaker? No. Here's my card. But don't forget me. I did that over and over and over again. And then I met this guy named Lafayette Jones. Hi, my name is Les Brown. I'm a speaker. I motivate and inspire people. Why are you going to Chicago? He said, today's my birthday. Today's my birthday too. And we started talking. He said, what do you say you do? I said, I'm a speaker. Do you know anyone who would have the need for a speaker? He said, oh my God, I work for Robert Johnson. The speaker that we had scheduled canceled. He said, are you good? I said, yes, people say that I am. What do you charge? I said, how much have you allocated? He said, $5,000. I'd never got paid that money. That amount of money for $5,000 for 1 hour? I said, yes. I spoke, and it was a turning point. Mr. Johnson, he ran up to the podium after I finished. Who are you? My name is Les Brown. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. I love your speaking style. Sir, do you know anybody else that can use me? Yes. Who? Robert Schuller. I gave him $1 million for his ministry. I'm going to call him and tell him to bring you on his show. Robert Schuller called me. Hello? This is Robert Schuller. No, it's not. Yes, Robert Johnson told me to call you, to book you on my show, to interview you. I said, hold it just a minute. I dropped the telephone. I was running to the restroom. I said, I'm going to the restroom, but it's number 1. It's not number 2.
You had to go to the bathroom.
I had to pee. I was so excited. I had to pee. I said, I can't. I said, wait a minute. I came back. I said, okay. And he scheduled me. I did that interview, and my phone lit up.
And that was the beginning.
Yes.
Huh.
And then from there, Dexter Yeager had me to speak in the Georgia Dome for 80,000 people.
Wow.
And it just go from there.
So you don't just land here where I am or where you are. You have these support mechanisms around
Yes.
you. You know, this morning I was at yoga, for instance. It clears my mind. It gets me
Yes.
focused. And I work with a woman who's a spirit coach, and she's constantly telling me, you've got to get out of your brain, get into your heart. She's constantly, well, what would your heart say? What would your heart say?
Right.
How do you help people like me move to the heart and communicate from there? Because I'm so wrapped here.
I want to ask you this question. What's most important to you right now?
My family.
No, you don't have to analyze that. You don't have to think about that. That's in your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about your life right now. A lot of people are concerned about many things in this thing called life. And let me share something with you. And you didn't ask me. My family is everything to me. And as a result of that, it has caused me to look at myself and ask myself the question when I look at the things that I'm inspiring my children to do and what's possible for them. I'm constantly looking at Daniel and saying, what is it Daniel needs to do to improve myself, to grow mentally and emotionally and spiritually and financially, to make a greater impact with my life? And one is that focus, that there's so much noise, so many distractions. But the people that are going to make the impact, the men and women who will build families with a mindset of legacy, have a focus, a mission to achieve some things, to transform themselves, to accomplish themselves, to get them outside of their comfort zone, because in order for a man to gain his life, he must lose his life. And I'm constantly letting go parts of myself, that this vision, this focus I have right now won't permit it. I'm focused on how I can not just drive my business, grow my revenue, make a greater impact for my customers, but my relationship with my wife. I'm asking that we be transparent and ask the question, what can I do better as a father? What is it about me as a husband that you wish that I would work on? We all have short areas in our lives that need some work. And relationships require maintenance. If we stop to change our oil, to have our cars updated, we have to do that in our relationships too. You know? Tell me, baby. Tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, as a father, talk to your children. Ask my kids. Say, tell me, and don't pull no punches. What can I do?
What's interesting about this is, and I don't know, I've experienced it. I so much want feedback. Like I need it. It's almost like, and I see that in you too.
Yes, we all do.
Well, here's the weird thing is like, I've seen the world bifurcated. There's about 10-20% that really want feedback, and then about 70-80% who are like, oh.
That's right.
And I
don't cast pearls before swines unless they turn and rend you. You can't give everybody feedback.
Yeah.
Some people just can't handle it.
Yeah.
No, and it's okay. That's their journey.
Just so weird, right? Because it's so valuable.
I'm not going to judge it. I mean, I'm getting ready to come here. I'm preparing for this. My brother's going downstairs to eat and look at television. That used to bother me. That's none of my business. My mother had a sign on her mirror, no matter where we moved, and we moved a lot. Oh, Lord, help me keep my long nose out of other people's business. And there's stuff that used to stress me out. No. You just let it go. It's none of my business. I've got to do that which I'm called to do. I'm on a mission. I have so much time here. And I feel I'm in overtime.
Yeah.
That when they said to me at Cancer Centers of America, the cancer that you've been dealing with, Mr. Brown, we're going to give you an award, a 39-year perseverance award of 4-stage cancer.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I was interviewed by the CEO of Cancer Centers of America. And one of the people who nominated me said, what do you attribute this to? I said, focus on living each day as if it were my last. And I heard Frank Sinatra say that to a young man. We're in Vegas, Gladys and I. And he said to this guy, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so I'm focused to do all the good that I can today. This is special to me. This energizes me.
What's your legacy that you want to leave behind? I know you're working on some stuff right now.
I aspire to inspire until I expire.
Try, man.
Yeah, I aspire to inspire until I expire. That's what I want to do.
That's it. And inspire who and how and
the
why.
Planet. We're in a place right now. We were chosen, you and I out of 400 million sperm. We were selected. There's something in you, there's something in me, there's something in Sam, something in David. We were selected for this time. Who will go for us? I got some bad dudes. Sam, David, Daniel. Wasn't he in the lion den? Yeah, but he kicked the lions behind. Oh, okay. Les, yeah, Kimber, Lauren, yeah, Jerry. And we're going to send them down there.
Yeah.
They got this. We're on assignment. We've been deployed.
To go do something.
Yes.
You are so like, it's so clear that you're on a mission and you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. How do you get somebody who doesn't know? And I'm going to give you an example. I'm working with somebody, she works for Oracle, big corporate company, doesn't love her job, wants to help impact children, but doesn't have a plan and doesn't have a mission. And how do you help somebody?
It's not that she doesn't have a plan, she doesn't have a reason. What kept me going? I ask you, what's important to you? Your family. Even if you went through a major downswing with your family, with your business, because of your vision of yourself and the compelling hunger in you to provide for your family,
Yeah.
you'll snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. She doesn't have a reason. You got to find out what the reason is, because you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have challenges, but your reasons will give you the comeback power. Your reasons will empower you. I had so many things happen to me, but I was so oblivious because giving up was not an option. I have a mother that was depending on me, that I said, Mama, I promise you, you will not go to a nursing home. I promise you, I'll take care of everything. You don't have to do that, Leslie. I know, Mama, but I'm going to take care of you. So she needs a reason. You got to talk to her and find out what's most important to you, and talk from that place. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. She doesn't have a reason that's big enough for her to say, I'm going to do this.
I think on that one, this has been amazing. And thank you so much for just letting me come out here and hang out with you for a couple of days. It's been a
And I
while.
want to thank you for Sam and David. I'm thinking about, I'm getting me a big net. I'm going to kidnap them.
Well, we've already talked about that, actually.